podcast where we talk tech, business, and all the nerdy stuff in between. This is episode number 27. Today's episode is sponsored by TKS Luxury Vacation Rentals, located in Blue Ridge, Georgia, and Pensacola Beach, Florida. You can find them at bestblueridgecabinrental.com. And coming soon in a couple weeks, not live yet, bestpensacolabbeachrental.com. Today's episode is all about AI and not the sci-fi version. Come on, folks. We're talking real-world, boots-on-the-ground AI for small businesses. So today's episode will be titled AI for Small Business, What's Real, What's Risky, and What's Straight Up Hype. And joining me in person today, a very rare find in Pensacola, all the way up from beautiful Lakeland, Florida, known for its roaming swans. We have Brian Wilkey, the VP and Chief Operating Officer of Digital Boardwalk. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So, Brian, are you prepared to talk about AI?
We will see.
So we're going to start off with AI for small business, helpful versus hype versus hard no. Okay. So my question to you, let's start broad.
Mm-hmm.
We'll make it easy. I'm going to take it. We don't share the show notes, folks. So, don't be nervous.
Sure.
AI is everywhere right now, right? So what are business owners getting completely wrong?
Not taking action. I think there's a lot of businesses who are seeing this as hype or a bubble, and they're choosing to stay on the sidelines and see where it lands. I don't think there's a question at this point that AI is going to play an important role in business moving forward, and we don't know what that's going to look like yet. It's still evolving, but the businesses who are sitting on the sidelines and aren't at least playing around with it to learn what's happening in
Kind
the
of
space.
the fundamentals, right?
Right.
How to use it, what kind of answers you're going to get out of it, what it can do, what it can't do.
Right. Yeah, because their competition is. And when this technology begins to mature, the ones who are playing around with it and had that head start are going to be able to implement it quickly, whereas everyone else is going to be playing catch up. And as everyone sees, the pace of AI moves so quickly that if you're playing catch up, you're going to lose.
So what's the biggest misconception do you think small businesses have about AI, right now, this very moment? What, as a small business owner, when you think about AI, when someone's actually fooling around with it, fiddling around with it, like you say, learning about it, what is their misconception? Is it going to completely replace all their staff?
Highly doubtful for small businesses.
So it's not a magic employee.
No, it's as far as job replacement goes, I see that happening in the enterprise space, because historically, if an enterprise had a problem to solve, they would throw people at the problem, and they're not going to have to do that anymore. So I think we're going to continue to see mass layoffs in the enterprise space. Small businesses are going to use it as an optimization and scalability mechanism.
It's not a magic employee. It's more like a fast intern.
Yes. Yeah. And that might be the other, misconception for businesses that discourages them from AI is they see the news promoting that AI can do all of the work. It can do 100% of the coding or whatever they advertise. And then they get into it and they see it doesn't do that. And their gut reaction is, okay, it's just hype. They're trying to sell me products.
Right. And we're at this is just the start.
Yeah.
It's going to rapidly evolve.
Yeah.
And we're going to see that over the next 2 or 3 years, probably sooner than later. So where are you actually seeing AI save real time for the small business owner today? Not just in theory, but real implemented practices built around AI. What is it? How is it helping the typical small business owner? How can they utilize it outside of reaching out to Digital Boardwalk and having
Sure.
Digital Boardwalk help them?
Yeah. This is the one thing that's changing and has changed within the last few weeks. So my answer is not going to age very well. But right now, as far as what small businesses are using, um, I'm seeing it really help them in the research and planning space.
Right.
Yeah. So as they're making business decisions, if they're trying to understand their market, trying to make some high level business decisions, you could have previously gone to search engines to get some of that data. It would just take you forever to do it.
But it's fragmented
Yes.
when you go out on Google, right?
Right.
But AI is searching so much more, and
Yep.
it's bringing all that data in, and then it's learning from it if you stay in the same chat, right?
Yeah, or the same platform, right? So
Right.
whatever you use, Microsoft Copilot, Gemini,
Yeah.
Claude.
Yeah. So that's interesting. I mean, I've seen it help me with high level concepts around business that research and development.
Yep.
I mean, if somebody sends me an NDA prior to punting it off to my attorney, I might do a preliminary on it using AI, and it'll give me some suggestions. And then, you know, if everything looks good to go, I don't have to involve my, you know, $400 an hour, $500 an hour attorney. So that leads me to the next thing, and that's just one thing. I mean, calendaring and being able to collaborate between emails and the whole Microsoft ecosystem, which I've seen, it's been a game changer for me. But, and this isn't one of my questions, but talking about NDAs, I mean, law firms, you know, are they worried? Should they be worried? I mean, you're seeing, I mean, not just law firms, but any sort of outside. So how is that going to impact it, you think?
Yeah, so you'll see this across other conversations with experts in the space, but AI is really going to hurt cognitive repetitive work. Eventually, it's also going to impact manual repetitive with robotics. But yeah, contract review analysis, a lot of the junior level legal work. So if we're talking law firms, junior level legal work is going to be displaced with AI. So the concern there is all the kids going to school for legal right now, coming out of college, they're not going to have many job opportunities.
Got it. So we still need our attorneys.
We're still going to need senior.
I like my attorney.
Yeah.
So, you know, that leads me into my next question because, I mean, let's stay on this topic. Talking about low-level work, talking about some other things. What's something business owners are trying to use AI for that makes you immediately go, that's a bad idea?
Well, so a great example of this, I was actually at a Microsoft event recently, and there was a question in the audience, and they said, we know Microsoft Copilot runs the GPT models from OpenAI and now the Anthropic Claude models. But when they prompt ChatGPT or Claude outside of the Microsoft platform, they get different responses than Copilot gives. And the reason for that is Microsoft is very focused on the risk side of things. They're very risk averse with how they're putting up their guardrails. And so if you go to ChatGPT and feed it 6 months worth of performance appraisals for an employee and ask it, should we terminate this employee based on the performance appraisals? ChatGPT is going to be like, yeah, you probably should.
Wow.
Whereas Copilot is going to say, here's some insights based on these performance appraisals, but I can't make that decision for you. Microsoft has specifically coded the platform to behave that way because of the legal implications of leaning on something like AI to make those types of decisions. So people doing those types of things, or just feeding sensitive data into platforms
Oh,
hearing Claude's the greatest thing, and then feeding your whole customer list into it.
You're going to shorten this episode if you don't let me get to that topic, because security is a big one.
Yeah.
And we're going to end. I think we're going to get to that in a little bit, because that is a big hot topic. Obviously, we both work at Digital Boardwalk, so we know all about security, and I want to get into that. But so if you had to draw a line, for instance, we're talking about drafting something versus actually using it. So if we're talking about legal, and I talked about NDA. If it's just something small and I just need a little touch point, I might run with it because I know enough about how that works, and it's an NDA.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to cover, confidentiality and various things in there.
Yeah.
But certain things might not matter depending on who you're engaging with on the NDA. But if it's super deep, you want to punt that. You want to punt that to legal.
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line between drafting help and risky shortcut? I mean, a risky shortcut would be like, I'm just going to do it myself, punt it over.
Yeah. I think you kind of set this up perfectly the way you explained it before. Look at it as an assistant. So maybe not a subject matter expert per se, but someone who can help get you started, lay the groundwork, get it 80% of the way.
Yeah.
And don't just explicitly trust it. Yeah.
Okay. So let me end this segment by asking one final question. I mean, we get approached about AI at Digital Boardwalk all the time, and we're helping companies now. And obviously, we're still in the early phases of all this, but it's going to evolve. If a 10-person company asked you, and you already alluded to this earlier, but if they asked you, should we be using AI? What's your honest answer, and where would you point them to begin?
Yes, definitely start. And start with the whole team. We see a lot of companies try to baby step this and say, all right, we're just going to have our executive team play with the tools. No, give the tools to the whole team so everyone can start getting that experience. But start simple with chat. That is the easiest way to get started. There's very little learning curve to it. The way we did it internally back when this stuff first started launching, we just made the chat everyone's default homepage in the browser. So instead of them going to Google, they would just prompt AI for the question they had.
Yeah.
Start there. When people start to see how that can help save time and gather information quicker, they start to explore naturally. And then they ask questions like, okay, what else can this do? And it's that curiosity that's going to really help businesses as this evolves.
Good answer. All right, let's use that as a segue into segment 2. We're going to talk about AI at work, automating the boring stuff.
Yeah.
And that's part of what you do here at Digital Boardwalk. So this is a good segue. So we'll kick it off with the first question. Where do you look when you look at a typical work day? What are the boring tasks AI is actually really good at taking off someone's plate?
Anything repetitive. If you do something the same way every time with any sort of frequency, and you can clearly communicate that or write that process, AI is going to be fantastic for that, because you can define very clear actions and boundaries, and it can run with it.
So a first draft of maybe an email, but not necessarily the final draft.
Sure. Yep.
Because you got to humanize it.
Yeah.
And I can always tell when I get an email that's written by AI.
Yeah. So, and this starts getting into some of the nuance of it that people who aren't into tech really don't discover without guidance, but you can steer AI to respond in ways that you want it to. So the telltale sign that something's AI generated are those long dashes. That's just the dead giveaway because they all use it. You can customize your settings so it explicitly ignores that behavior, or it doesn't output that way. And instead, you can say, hey, give me bullet points or use more complex sentence structure, those types of things. So you can make it feel more natural, but you have to know how to give it that guidance.
So, in the world of cybersecurity, and this isn't about cybersecurity, folks,
Mhm.
but since I've got you in here, is that what the bad actors are doing with their phishing emails? Are
Completely, yeah.
they trying to humanize them by
Yeah.
using those tricks?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. You know, what, 10 years ago, phishing emails, people were always coached, like, look for the spelling errors, look for the weird language and the sentence structure and that kind of stuff. That's gone now. AI can perfectly draft those emails to be very legitimate looking. Um, and it does that very well.
So what's a workflow that you can think of that you would never automate end to end?
Oh
That's a
my
I
gosh.
know, right? I
Um,
I threw this one in there last minute because I wanted to see if I could get you.
the most risky one I can think of, and this is a little ambiguous, but I would say mass actions. Those are dangerous.
Okay.
If you
Why?
Well, I mean, if you don't put enough thought into it, you could destroy a system. You could destroy the data that you've built, spent years building. If you've got a customer database and
You
you can
know,
say,
right
right,
it's going to write over everything.
right, yeah.
Okay.
Or I forget what organization it was. There was a fairly large enterprise recently that their coders leaned on AI to make a change in the code base, and it wiped out the entire code base. So it did more harm than good, and then they had to all go back and try to fix what it had done.
Wow.
So
Yeah, that's a buzzkill.
yeah. So yeah, I think the danger is in any sort of mass actions, at least without some sort of checks and balances or verification
Right.
before it performs the actions.
Right. So it's not 100% replacing humans.
This is where I think the language gets misconstrued, because you'll see big platforms, Anthropic included, saying it's doing 90% of our code or it's doing 100% of our
Right.
code. That doesn't mean it's doing 100% of the work for the employee. It's just doing that legwork first. So
Is the code messy?
it can be. It can also be clean. It depends on your coders. Some coders are really messy coders. So it could be better than some of them. But I think what they mean specifically with code.
Isn't there a movie where they it's spaces versus Silicon Valley?
Oh, tabs versus
Tab,
spaces.
tab
Yeah.
versus spaces.
I'm a tab guy.
That's funny.
But I mean, even for myself, 3-4 years ago when I'm coding, I'd be writing it all manually.
Yeah.
Now it's rare that I write any code directly. I'll use AI to help generate it. I'll go in and modify it, but it's rare that I'm just sitting there in a command line.
I've increased my productivity by at least 25%.
Yeah.
By using AI, maybe even more than that.
Yeah.
Because I'm not spending as much time spinning wheels,
Mhm.
trying to either find the resources, look for what I need, or make it do what I need it to do. So it's really, so that brings me to my next question. What's a real example? Small business owners, pay attention to this question. What's a real example you've seen where AI made an employee noticeably more productive?
This is, I'll speak from firsthand experience.
Are we going to talk about Edge? Did we make you more productive with AI?
No, I'll share firsthand experience because this was an aha moment for me from an AI perspective. Up until 2 or 3 weeks ago, AI has been really good at giving me answers. It was not very good at doing work. It's the one thing that always disappointed me with it. There was so much hype around AI, and I'd sit in front of something like Excel and say, hey, do this for me. and it couldn't do it. It
Yeah.
could
I've
help me.
experienced that.
It could give me guidance on how to build a formula or how to set up the pivot table, but it wouldn't do the work. That's changed. AI is going agentic, as you'll hear, agent based, and all that really means for the layman is it can do the work now. It can do the tasks. And so when Excel became agentic a few weeks ago.
Let's step back for our audience.
Yeah.
Agent-based. It can do the task, right? What does that mean, agent-based, for our audience?
Yeah, so it's a means of connecting apps and services to permissions that give it the ability to perform tasks in those apps.
Okay.
So prior to this, it was surface level. It could see information, but it couldn't do anything with it. It could maybe analyze it. It could give you guidance, but it couldn't perform any actions within the app.
Got it.
Now it can. And so, yeah, when the agent landed in Excel, I was working on a financial model, and there was a column in my worksheet that was functional, but I could tell based on the results that there was a variable it wasn't taking into account in the formula. I needed it to also include this other condition. And of course, I could have figured that out. I could have looked at the formula and made that modification. But at the same time, as this financial model and this data set was starting to grow, I wanted to move everything from this worksheet to a different worksheet. And for any Excel nerds out there, you know you need to like anchor your references with the $sign if you want to do moves like that, which I hadn't planned ahead for this one. And then after all of that, I also wanted to format it a certain way just to make the data a little more readable. So I saw agent mode, turned it on, and I was like, let me just give this a shot. So I gave it the prompt. I said, I need this column to also take into account this data variable. I want you to move it to a different worksheet, name it this, and then I want you to reformat the data and then create a pie chart based on that data. And I hit go and sat back and watched it. And what's really cool, when you chat with AI, you wait for a moment and then it just kind of spits everything out. It does most of the work behind the scenes. In agent mode, you watch it step by step. So I saw it break my formula first. Then I saw it add in the new component. It brought in the results. I saw it create the new tab, name it, move my columns over, build out the formatting, add the chart. It even caught itself and said, okay, the chart has some data label issues, so let me fix that.
Interesting.
And so something that I probably could have knocked out in about an hour, it took maybe like 2 minutes.
So the first time I used Claude, I had it design a simple website for me. I watched the code. I watched it code right in front of me.
Yep.
Is that what you're referring to?
Exactly. And in my experience with Excel and Microsoft Copilot, it's powered by Anthropic's Claude.
Anthropic's Claude.
Yep.
Got it. So we're talking about being more productive with AI. Let's flip that upside down. Let's put them on its head. What are people trying to automate with AI that it just completely fumbles?
I wouldn't say what are they trying to automate. I would say they're probably jumping the gun on trying to automate something that they don't understand yet.
Okay.
So this gets into the world of process automation, and you can't automate a process that you don't have well defined already. You need to understand how that process should work so that when you are automating it, you can make sure that you're getting the output you expect. Because otherwise you're just trusting what it's doing and you have no idea what that output means.
Well, most of the audience probably isn't going to be automating with it yet.
No.
They're going to be using things like writing emails and things like that. So context and consequences matter. So let's use a real world scenario where maybe you have a frustrated customer and you're trying to respond to that frustrated customer using AI. Requires accountability.
Yep.
how is AI going to address that frustrated customer? And can you tell it, hey, be direct. Hey, we had to do that one day,
Mm-hmm.
or be a little bit more passionate about their plight, or or
Yeah.
whatever they're frustrated about.
Mm-hmm.
Can we do that now? Could we do that? Could we do that a year ago? How has it evolved? And let's just talk about that.
Yeah. Um, I think the biggest thing that's happened over the last year. So in short, yes, you can do that. Um, what's happened over the last year is the information that AI has access to generate its responses is expanding. We're able to tie more things in together. And so that has always been the the crux of it in the early days is it didn't have enough context to give you a valuable response. It was just a generalist. It would be based on whatever information is out there on the web. Now that it's able to tie into your emails, the way you treat other customers, the way you talk to people internally, it can use that tone and way that you approach conflict.
So if you're mean to customers, AI is going to address it. Are you kidding me?
It will follow lead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't be mean to customers, folks. Be nice.
Yeah.
Uh, so we're not replacing roles. We're helping people
Mm-hmm.
be more productive.
Mm-hmm.
If someone on your team uses AI every day, right? What's the difference between them doing it the right way and the wrong way?
Oh,
And we'll
gosh.
wrap up this segment with that question.
Yeah, that easily just comes down to trusting the output.
Right.
Like just
Like
putting
what
it,
we just talked about.
right, putting in a prompt, you take what it gives back and you run with it. That is not a good idea. Even just
Okay.
having a couple quick follow-up prompts to tune it, to clarify it can make a world of difference.
Well, you alluded to security earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I told you to hang on, don't get ahead of us. We're
Yep.
going to jump into that segment now. So the next segment is the AI security checklist. And I know I have a weird feeling this could take an hour because we are very passionate about security and understanding the concepts of security and helping our customers address those security concerns.
Yeah.
So my first question to you is, before we even talk about AI, before we even get into that,
Mm-hmm.
what are the basic security things every small business still needs to have locked in? AI aside, the stuff we already talked to our customers about, what security checklist? What do they need to have locked in? Always.
Yeah. Before you can even really go down the AI journey, you have got to,
These are the non-negotiables.
yeah, you've got to focus on your data governance.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have control over who has access to what.
Right.
Um,
Permissions.
yep, permissions.
MFA, should we be
MFA is a
selective on,
non-negotiable.
is Digital Boardwalk selective on who gets MFA?
No, that is mandatory.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and that one, sadly, it's, there's ways around that too.
Yeah.
So for us, we're also going full zero trust. I would really consider that a non-negotiable moving forward.
What is zero trust, Brian?
So try not to go too long-winded here.
So that's if I don't trust my kids to do anything, I'm not going to allow them to do anything. Is that what that means?
Sort of. So historically in cybersecurity, we would define what bad looks like, let the systems try to identify when bad happens, and then try to stop it. Zero trust is the reverse of that. So we define what good looks like,
Okay.
and then anything else is blocked.
So I plug a flash drive into my laptop right
Yep.
now that is an untrusted device.
Yep.
My laptop's a trusted device,
Mm-hmm.
but the flash drive isn't.
Yep. Flash drive's blocked.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
So I can't access my picture to the beach?
Nope.
Okay.
And take it a step further. Let's say we did previously trust that device and you go home and unintentionally get a piece of malware on that USB device and you plug it back into your work computer and try to open it, we don't trust that piece of malware that's on the drive, so that gets blocked too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yep.
So that's the way you want to take it. What's the biggest security mistake customers are making, or not customers, but our customers don't make them because they hire us. But what's the biggest security mistake companies are making right now when it comes to using AI tools? We talked about this earlier. You talked about not plugging in sensitive information to public chat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's not having an AI security conversation in the business. They're just jumping in, letting everyone play with whatever tools they want, and your non-technical people aren't thinking about what it means for them to put sensitive information.
So I can't take our entire company's payroll, plug it into ChatGPT, and ask it if that's, if anything should be changed.
No. Don't.
What happens to that when it goes out into ChatGPT land?
Yeah, that data is used to train the model and can also be used in responses to other companies.
So a competitor could use that data against you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. So, wow. So no financials. Definitely don't plug passwords in.
No.
Right?
And be careful of what AI apps you're downloading. We're seeing this a lot too, where
personal identifiable information, none of that.
Right.
PII.
Yep.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So bad actors are riding this wave of AI hype. So they're putting out a bunch of fake AI agents that people are using to feed in sensitive information like that. And they're just using it to collect it and then sell it on the dark web.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So let's say a business wants to incorporate AI safely. Okay. What's your simple non-negotiable checklist? If they want to put it in safely, what shouldn't they do?
Well, don't let your employees have the freedom to use whatever AI platform they want.
Right.
You need to clearly define that. And just have an honest conversation with the team about the risks of AI, it being in early development. We need to think about how we're using these tools and how we're protecting our company information.
Got it. So how big of a problem, and you can define this term shadow AI, but how big of a problem is shadow AI, employees using tools without approval, and how do you even control that? How do you manage it?
Yep. So it's a massive problem right now. And zero trust is the approach for it.
Okay.
But
that's only on the machines you control, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So they could still go on a personal machine and
yeah.
How do you is there a way to control that yet?
Yeah. So you extend zero trust to the point where you put up a barrier around the information itself.
Okay.
So if, let's say, all of your data lives in Microsoft 365, you prevent an employee from accessing their Microsoft account, their 365 account, from any personal devices that aren't trusted by the organization. So there's no way for them to extract the business data out to put it into whatever random AI chatbot they downloaded.
Incredible. So let's finish on one last question in that segment. We'll jump to the final segment. What's one thing you would absolutely tell a business? Do not put this into AI under any circumstance. I think we already alluded to that. Passwords.
Anything you don't want the rest of the world to see.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to think about it.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to use that as a segue to segment 4. We'll call this your employees are already using AI, right? So, I mean, let's be honest. They're using AI whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So if you haven't adopted it yet, I guarantee you at least one of your employees has already adopted AI and is using it. So how many employees are already using AI tools, would you say, if you had to put a number on it, without the company even realizing it?
All of them. um, so some of the larger companies, Google, Microsoft, they like to boast this because they kind of shoehorned in AI into their search engines. So now every time you search something, that top result is AI generated.
Yeah.
So then they can make the claim that we've got
Here's an AI.
yeah, how many millions of AI users. But the world knows about it at this point. All your employees know about it. And if you ask them, I guarantee most of them have probably downloaded and used ChatGPT. Whenever that,
Right.
hit the landscape, everyone was curious about it. So they're all using it. How they're using it is the concern.
Think kids are using it for homework?
For sure. Yeah.
Would you have?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. At least to, help me in the process.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So what are the biggest risks? We just talked about this, but using ChatGPT or Copilot on their own, what are the biggest risks when employees start using those tools without maybe mandated company policies built around that? So where are the risks? I mean, if John Doe in Department A, is using ChatGPT while he's at work, not managed, and he's plugging stuff in, maybe there's no ill intent. Maybe he's doing everything, but what's the downside to that? I mean, the true downside to him doing that, even though he hasn't done anything wrong,
Yeah.
he hasn't plugged his passwords or financials or payroll in like we talked about, and he has no ill intent. He's just trying to do a good job during the day, but he's using it on the side to assist him. There's no mandated company policies in place for that.
Yeah.
But how do we get control of that?
It comes back to conversations as a company and then implementing technical controls to limit it. The way you frame that, there probably isn't an issue with it in the beginning, but there's nothing stopping them from taking it that one extra step, which crosses the line. And so putting controls in place before that line is crossed is really important.
What about banning it?
Don't want to ban it.
Why not?
It just forces people to
Yeah.
use it anyway.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It's kind of like telling your kids no.
exactly.
It makes them want to do it more.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not realistic to me.
No.
And I would never. I mean, we're IT.
Right.
We're early adopters.
Yeah.
Of it. Right. So banning is just going to turn into shadow IT. Or shadow AI, I'm sorry. Safer ways, approved tools, plus simple rules, training, accountability. What's the simplest policy language you've seen that actually gets followed? And it doesn't have to be for AI. It can be across anything. But how would you apply that to AI?
Yeah. Operationally, for most small businesses, it really just comes down to an approval process. So they'll define a chain of command to authorize when they can use something like that, and at least that forces the conversation.
So look into your camera over here and tell that small business owner what he can do right now if he he knows some people might be using AI, but what he could do right now, like in terms of guidelines, to start to get it moving inside of his organization and have those conversations with his employee. What is he going to do?
Yep. So meet with your whole team, encourage them to use AI and explore, but before they begin using a new tool that they want to explore, have them approach you first, assuming you're the decision maker in this, and just have that one extra step, that one conversation about, is this secure? How do we protect our information? How could this be exploited? You don't have to necessarily involve IT yet. Just having that extra step will prevent people from just running free and using the tools.
Okay. So they need an AI policy.
Yeah.
And it's not overkill to have that.
No.
Okay. Because people are already using it anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So what's the risk of not having that policy in place?
Well, then it's a free for all.
It's free for all.
Yeah. And you don't have any way of knowing when it's happening either.
Oh, so let's boil down that policy. What's one thing that policy absolutely has to have in it? Probably framework, right? What during?
Again, I would just base it on an approval process. Like if you want to use a new tool that isn't authorized, you need approval to do that first.
But how do you build a policy that they're going to follow? I mean, it's other than just making a policy and putting it in a folder.
Outside of actual IT controls, it's
training.
Right.
Training.
Yeah.
Repeat, repeat, repeat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And then remind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Has to be in the conversation.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into the rapid fire round with Mr. Brian Wilkey here. Brian, you've listened to the show before. You know how this works. We're going to ask you one, simple questions, a bunch of them.
Okay.
And you're going to answer with the first word that comes to your head.
Okay.
So if I say, who do you dislike? Don't say Tim Shoup.
Yeah.
So we're going to go. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. AI you actually use every day.
Yes.
Most overhyped AI tool right now.
Ooh. OpenClaw.
Okay. What's more dangerous, bad passwords or bad AI usage?
Bad AI usage.
One task every business should automate today.
Scheduling.
If a business owner only fixes one cybersecurity thing this year, what should it be? Hire Digital Boardwalk.
Yeah. There's so many things they need to do.
There you go.
Maybe awareness training.
That's a good one. Yeah. One AI tool you'd ban in a company.
Ooh. Anything that gives system level access. So like Claude Cowork, for example.
Claude Cowork. Best advice for someone scared of AI.
Just play with it. Try it in a browser.
That's more than one word, Brian. AI assistant or human assistant? Which wins today?
AI assistant.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. One word to describe AI right now. One word.
Oh, man.
We stumped him, ladies and gentlemen.
Evolving.
That's a good one. And we'll wrap it up with one last one. If AI were an employee, what would its job title be?
Intern.
All right. Do you have any AI jokes?
No. I could ask AI for an AI joke.
All right. Hey, look, man, you flew up here from Lakeland. I appreciate it. We've got a lot of meetings this week, so appreciate you coming up. It's been too long. We see each other on Teams all the time, but we don't get to hang out much in person. So appreciate you coming up. Thanks for being on Nerds on Tap again. I honestly think this might be the best show we've ever done. So,
thank you.
Well, and you weren't
We can
prepped.
top it.
Tell the audience you
No.
were not prepped for this show.
Not at all.
All right. So are you sure you're not using AI right now to answer all these questions that I just threw at you?
Nope.
What's that in your ear there?
My voice.
I'm just kidding. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening or watching another episode of Nerds on Tap, where we like to get nerdy for an hour. Come back again and check out our next episode. Thank you, and make it a nerdy day. Cheers, my fellow nerds and beer lovers. Stay tuned for more Nerds on Tap. Oh, and one more thing. Help us spread the nerdy love and the love for great brews by sharing this podcast with your friends, colleagues, and fellow beer enthusiasts. Let's build a community that embraces curiosity, innovation, and the enjoyment of a cold one.